Hello, my dear all students. Welcome back to our channel Gyanmanjari Education. After a long time, we are meeting with our new chapter, new unit. So, I hope you all are fine. Please keep yourself at your home and stay safe and healthy. So, students, today we have met with our next and new chapter, and our new chapter is our unit second, the sound of music. And the we will go with our first story because this unit 2 divided into two units, right? So we will first go with our first story, and the writer of the first story is Deborah Cawley. So let's get further. So students, here we have the little bit biography of our author. How did she work? About Deborah Cawley. You can see the picture of the writer. So let's see. Deborah Mason Cawley is a freelance writer and broadcaster. She is a freelance writer and broadcaster. Means which kind of her work is. She grew up in Toronto, graduated from the University of Western Ontario, and moved to Ottawa to work for the Unitarian Service Committee, USC, right? She spent 2 years with UNHCR. What is the full form of UNHCR? United Nations Relief and Work Agency. So here we have little bit a biography of our writer Deborah Cawley. She is freelance writer and broadcaster. Means her work was she was writing in her own way, and she grew up in Toronto, graduated from University of Western Ontario, and moved to Ottawa for the work in this, and in Beirut before moving back to Ottawa, and a job with CIDA. Which kind of work she had done, right? So how she was famous, how her work became famous. As she traveled the world with her diplomat husband, she worked as a reporter also for CBC Radio in Washington, D.C. and on a posting to Cairo. She worked on several TV documentaries for CBC's Man Alive. It kind of documentary season, so she had also worked in that. So you can see that so many work she has done in her life. Also in Egypt, she wrote the first official guidebook to Cairo since Baedeker's guide in the 1940s. So here we have the documentary or the biography of our writer Deborah Cawley. Now we will move with our title, that what is the title of this story. So let's see. So students, here we have our second unit, the sound of music, which is divided into two different kind of stories related to the music, sound of music. So let's move to our first part or first story. What is the name of the story? Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. So after reading this title, some kind of questions arrive in our mind, that without hearing, how could anyone hear or listen any kind of voice, especially the music, sound of music? So let's see. So before you read, God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. So read this sentence very carefully. God may have taken her hearing. Some kind of ability God has not given to someone, but some extraordinary is there in that person. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. Whatever we could also not hear, but she could feel it from her deep heart. That is why she expressed music so beautifully. So how did she express the music? Very beautifully. So read the following account of a person who fought against a physical disability and made her life a success story. So there is one prominent figure of somebody, whatever we will see in this unit. Okay, so let's get started. Open your textbook, Bev, and open your Unit 2, The Sound of Music and Story 1, Part 1. Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Evelyn Glennie, name of the girl who listens a sound but without hearing it. So let's get started, because we have a kind of curiosity to know about this lesson. So let's get started with our first paragraph. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl looking younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Now we can feel, or we can imagine one atmosphere: rush hour, crowds, and jostle. I hope you all have your textbook, and some new words are also there. So what is the meaning of jostle? Push roughly for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl. Now we are going with that girl, a slight girl who was looking younger than her 17 years. She was 17, but she was looking more younger than her age. She was very nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Now she was very nervous, but also she was feeling very excited, and she was feeling like something approaching, something vibrating like a train. Vibrations of approaching train. Sometimes it happens when we are at the station, means where trains are passing. On that station, whenever we went there, we feel that kind of vibrations when train arrives or train are going. Especially whenever trains are arriving, on that time we feel that kind of vibrations, right? So here she was feeling that kind of vibrations, like trains are coming. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and donating enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. Why? She was profoundly deaf. So she was feeling whatever she want to understand, she has to feel it, right? Because she was totally deaf. It was her first day. It was her. Whose first day? The girl's first day. Where? At the prestigious Royal Academy of Music. Where? In London. So, one academy was there, prestigious Royal Academy. Maybe it was teaching to the students about music. So she was going to there. She was going to join that academy in London and donating enough for any teenager fresh from Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge. She is facing big challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Evelyn Glennie, name of the girl. So Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. Now we will go with the background of her. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers, her mother was remembering, and or in other words, her mother remembers noticing something. She was noticing something was wrong. Something was wrong. Which kind of wrong? When the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano, they called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she had not heard. They called her name and she didn't move. If I call that, yes, you, look at me, then let me give you one example by giving you a name. Yes, you Sukriti. Yes, you Rudra. Yes, you Siddharth. So if I will call you, then you will suddenly move to at me that yes ma'am, what are you saying me? Yes ma'am, did you call me? So this kind of things were going on, but whenever anyone called her, so she didn't move to them. So her mother found her that something is going very wrong. I suddenly realized she didn't heard. So her mother realized that she is not able to hear. She didn't hear. Says Isabel Glennie, her mother. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to control her growing deafness. So she was growing with her deafness. So she tried to control it from friends and teachers, right? They both were always supporting her to come out from her deafness, and she was also trying to come out from that. It is very important. If we are that kind of person, so we have to struggle for that. And here also that Evelyn is struggling. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. So here, but by the time she was 11, time was passing and now she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents. Of course, she was not getting well, that's why. And her headmistress urged to her parents and told them to take care of her, and some specialists are there, so she suggested them to check up with that specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Now she got that they were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aid. One kind of aid is there which that deaf people are using, so that kind of aid she used. So they suggested, doctors and all suggested, advised them that she has to wear that. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. So when she just put it in her ear, on that time, suddenly everything suddenly looked black. She was not able to see anything, everything. So now Evelyn told that everything suddenly looked black. So what happens next, we will see in our next lecture. I hope you all have understood our this lecture. We will meet in our next lecture. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.